Season 52, War number 10, and we're up against SSx. This time my team will be Odin, America Chavez, and Omega Sentinel. I will be taking path 6 in section 1, path 1 in section 2, a Storm Pyramid X, Man-Thing, as well as an Onslaught mini-boss. So overall, quite a few fights less than usual, but that's alright. Now the majority of the fights today will be taken with Omega Sentinel, Odin is just for pre-fights, and Chavez is just for the final Onslaught, which I have taken before as well. Now starting off here we have a Wong on the combat dashable prowess and spiked armor nodes, and I'm taking the fight with Omega Sentinel. Omega Sentinel isn't ideal for Wong by any means. Essentially, most of your damage is gonna come from your basic attacks. If you're planning on using specials, well, just keep in mind that the energy damage from the Incinerate debuffs will feed Wong his Eldritch energy, so you will need to manage that properly, otherwise you're gonna take a lot of damage because of it. And well, I didn't do a great job with that today. So as you can see, Wong here is at 100 energy, so what you're supposed to do in that situation is hit him with a heavy attack to make him consume them without punishing you for it. And instead I punished his specialty with a medium dash in, and I ate the burst damage, which dealt quite a lot of damage. Now, I was expecting to eat at least one burst in the fight, but yeah, the damage did kinda surprise me, and well, I'm lucky that it didn't end up being more than that, to be fair. Now, the fight itself wasn't too difficult to deal with, however, if he does trigger the blue spell, whatever it's called, I don't actually know, he would be gaining unstoppables every time you get a buff, and against Omega Sentinel, that is a death sentence, so just don't let him use too many special ones, otherwise you're kinda screwed. Then we have a Nick Fury here on the aggression prowess and critical setup nodes, and I'm taking the fight with Omega Sentinel. This fight is not honestly all that difficult. This node is essentially just a diversity placement most wars, and Nick Fury, it's just a Nick Fury. Sure, the aggression prowess can be annoying with his special ones that are very difficult to full dex, and other than that, there's not really much going on here. Now, this Nick Fury started the fight with the Wong crossfight active, because I failed to finish off Wong while he had less than a bar of power, and that just gave him a power gain passive and a Fury to start with, which honestly doesn't do much for this specific fight. I'm just happy I got it out of the way for this one, and not one of the later or difficult fights. Now Nick Fury is already in his second life, and I dropped my special 3 for the Incinerates, so at this point he is essentially dead, but I will need to try to pause the effects here real quick beforehand, just to make sure, but the basic attacks themselves ended up finishing him off. Overall, it's just a typical Nick Fury fight, nothing too special to mention there. Now the reason why I haven't used my Odin pre-fights yet is because Power Snack and Buffet nodes eat them up at the start of the fights, so putting them on now is useless for me. It would help a lot, or I guess a little bit, on these first few fights, but these are easy enough anyways without them, so I would rather not deal with the extra power and regen on the two fights coming after this one. Now here we have a Sauron on the Never Back Down node, and I am taking the fight with Omega Sentinel. As usual, Omega Sentinel just completely shuts down everything Sauron does except the unblockable. But just being able to full dex his specials, that's kinda all you need to do to get around it. For openings, if you can't rely on parry, you can do the shallow evade against his medium dex, or medium dash animation, and that is a very simple and easy way to get an opening whenever you need one. Now, at this point, the fight is basically over. I'm just gonna go for the special 3, once again, get the plasma debuffs, and then those will finish him off. If they won't, well, I don't know what to say. Sauron is not a tanky defender, and the nodes here do basically nothing, so long as you have a heal block. And yeah, there he goes. Fight took less than a minute. Striker to finish it off. I did take a tiny bit of chip damage, but since I'm not using special 2s or special 1s, no recoil for me to worry about. And then we have a shocker on the buffet over time and arc overload nodes, and I'm taking the fight with Omega Sentinel, surprise surprise, and I start off the fight with the heal block pre-fight, as I have done for every single fight so far. The heal block is here to deal with the arc overload node. The buffet node itself will not trigger since I don't have the Odin pre-fights, and Omega Sentinel is immune to nullify. Now, the Odin pre-fights being nullified by buffet and power snack at the start of the fight is something that I don't think should happen, but I think it does with every one of the nullify immune champions, and it's been a known issue for a long time. I have no idea why it hasn't been fixed, if they can even fix it, but it is very annoying. That said though, this war, it was easy enough to play around that by simply not using the pre-fights yet. And now, just to finish out the fight, I'm going for a special 3 once again for the insta-crit debuffs. No, this isn't necessary. I could finish the fight just fine with basic attacks, but since I had the special, might as well. Now, Shocker here is an annoying fight, but overall Omega Sentinel deals with it just fine. And as long as you get those armor ups on early, she's fairly tanky as well to be able to block those special 2s, which is usually the special you wanna bait, because the special 1 ramps up Shocker faster. And of course, once he's ramped up, he's gonna start going unblockable and all that scary stuff, and I don't wanna deal with that. Then we have a Storm Pyramid X on the Power Snack and 1 too many hits miniboss node, and I will be taking the fight with Omega Sentinel. Now, Omega Sentinel here, once again she is nullify immune, so the Power Snack node will not be a problem. Omega Sentinel also being immune to ability accuracy reductions against mutant champions, means that your debuffs will not fail due to glancing, and that is your free ticket to inflicting that heal block debuff whenever you want. The heal block is pretty much necessary for this tactic, so that's that sorted out. All that is left is just hitting the opponent, slowly climbing up to my special 3, baiting special 1s over and over again, and then special 3 for plasma debuffs, and that's just about the fight. I will probably take some power sting damage here as well, since, as I have explained before, the node here, the 1 too many hits node, the way it works with special 3s is stupid. And essentially, if your special 3 pushes the opponent to a bar of power, you immediately detonate the power sting with the special 3 that pushed them to a bar of power. The order of operations there is all kinds of wrong, but that's how it works, unfortunately. So it is some chip damage that I will once again have to heal through. The fight at the very end did get a little bit scary with that power gain, but I did manage to finish it off with a striker and a combo, without needing to eat that special 3, which I don't think I would have survived, because, well, invulnerability boosts at this point in the season, they are very precious, and I can't waste them on fights that I don't need them on. And then we got a Man-Thing once again on the Hazard Shift, Shock and Bleed miniboss node along with Conflictor, and I will be taking the fight with Omega Sentinel. Starting off here, I'm throwing the Odin pre-fights on, mainly for the shock pre-fight, but the aptitude will also help my damage output. And then, of course, the heal block pre-fight, so I can start off with that without needing to use any of my heavy attacks. Also, on top of all that, I do have a White Magneto pre-fight on it, placed by a teammate, to allow me to ignore the Conflictor node with my parry stuns, giving me openings whenever I need them. Now, game plan here is the same as previously. Go for a double medium at the start to inflict a heal block and trigger the Conflictor node, put it on cooldown, and then throw a second double medium to get that heal block up on the opponent. Now, since Man-Thing cannot shrug off debuffs by himself, that heal block will stay up so long as I keep finishing my combos with light attacks to pause it, and Conflictor will not be a problem. Though here I decided to go for another heal block, just because the first one was running low on duration due to me making a couple mistakes, but with the second one on now, I am good to go. Now at this point the plan is to do a double medium to trigger Conflictor, put it on cooldown once again, and then use the special 3 to inflict the Incinerate debuffs, and then use that for damage. However, I messed up a little bit here. And I threw my special 3 too fast after triggering Conflictor. There is a slight duration with the Conflictor node when it triggers that the defender is essentially immune to debuffs, so if you immediately throw your special 3 here as you trigger the Conflictor, the Incinerates will not apply and you're gonna have to build up to another special 3. I knew that that was a thing that can happen, but I was slightly too quick in throwing the special 3 even though I tried to delay it a tiny bit. So here, got up to another one. Now this time I'm making sure I'm not inflicting any debuffs, or I guess the Conflictor node before the special 3, then throwing it, and now the fight is done. All that is left is just finishing combos with lights to keep them paused, and the Incinerates will deal with the rest of him. Overall, this matchup is honestly very safe and quite simple to do, so long as you understand how Omega Sentinel works, with the Conflictor as well, and you have the Odin pre-fight for the shock resistance. If you had to juggle the debuff phases here as well, then I would not be taking it or recommend that any of you take it either. If you can even use Omega Sentinel next season, when, well, we got more blacklists to deal with. And then we have the final fight of the war, an Onslaught on the Conflictor mini-boss node along with Combat Deja Vu prowess, and I am taking the fight with America Chavez once again. However, today I sucked at the game, and I don't know, I just can't fight Onslaught today for some reason. I can't exactly remember what kind of mistakes or how many of them I made, but it had something to do with his special ones, so I guess we will see how this goes. So normally to punish it, you dash in during it, and then, well, takes the last 2 hits, dash in again, and that's a simple way to be able to punish it every single time. But that's right there, that's the issue. I don't know why, but I was off with my timing here, and I'm just, well, you'll see. Go for another punish here, I dash in too late, I couldn't dex out in time, eat the tail end of that special one again. Now at this point I should probably give up trying, but yeah, this time I managed it, but due to the organic magnetism debuffs on me, I didn't go for the heavy chain for my combo. The stun can fail due to the AAR, so that is a risk I was not willing to take at this point. Another special one, dash in, and I mess up the punish again. And I'm down to 50%, pretty much tied with Onslaught here on the health bar, and I'm not doing too hot. My Chavez is only a rank 2, so the more health I lose, the scarier it gets. I go for it once again, for some reason, I don't know why, I'm just an idiot, but I failed it again. And at this point I'm done trying, I can't risk it, so I just full dex it and get my openings by baiting heavy attacks. Honestly, I haven't had this much trouble fighting Onslaught, or rather punishing his special ones, in, well, ever since I learned to do it, so I don't know what was wrong with me, but, well, still not dead, so there is that. I've been pretty lucky with him not critting on the special ones, so at least that's going great for me. And well, despite all the mistakes I made in this fight, I somehow didn't die, and I will get the solo. But yeah, if I ever have to take the matchup again, I'm definitely going back to practice the special 1 punish, because that was horrible. As for the results though, we did end up losing the war 2-6. SSx played very well, and well, we did not, so that's a deserved loss on our part.